Welcome to this channel, to this particular segment of the channel. And in this particular segment of this channel, we're going to be giving you step-by-step guide on how to successfully apply for US schools to gain admission to either undergraduate, either master's or the PhD program in the United States, as many schools as you want to. And also on some other occasions, we're going to be giving you opportunities about applications, schooling in other countries like Germany, Netherlands, and some other general scholarships that are available. So if this is your first time in this channel, kindly go ahead to like, share, and subscribe. So you may have been asking yourself, what are the things that people that have secured fully funded scholarships in the United States have actually done? What are the things they've actually put in place? What are the special things? Maybe in terms of their documentations, maybe in terms of the application, the amount of time they have actually put in the application process. Just to let you know, I was also in your shoes a few years ago. My name is Olumide, and I actually finished from the University of Ibadan in Nigeria. And upon completing my first degree, I had no idea of what to actually do to get started. What are the things that I needed to do? And so I started by reaching out to senior colleagues that I knew were already in the United States, getting some information from them. And also I had to work on myself by, number one, having that mindset of I need to actually get this thing done, and also having some sleepless nights to actually ensure that everything gets completed. So it actually starts from me. It started from me being actually so intentional about getting this. So yes, it is also independent of your location. Either you are in Nigeria, or you are in Ghana, or you are in even any part of Africa, or perhaps in other continents. It is independent of your country or your continent. And also it is not so much an issue when you have your first class. As long as you have your first class, you have your 2-1 or perhaps 2-2, because we've seen people that actually secured fully funded scholarship. So if you had the 2-2, don't get discouraged. You can actually get it done. So all you just need to do is just be intentional about the application process, but it starts from you. Okay, let me just start with my own story now. I actually, like I said, I was so intentional, and I started by creating an Excel sheet of all the schools I needed to apply to. I think I had a list of up to like 12 schools that I drafted out, and so I started by researching each of the schools I needed to, and of course not just the courses, like I mentioned, not just the courses, but what for instance, chemistry. You don't just want to say, oh, chemistry. You don't want to say organic chemistry. You want to actually go inside. You want to actually give a more detailed interest of what you want to actually do. So I started by actually getting all my schools ready and my program of choice ready. And so the next thing after that was to get all my documents ready, every single document ready. And afterwards, I was able to get of course, before I notify my lecturers in school about my intention. You have to notify your lecturers beforehand of your intent, because they are also very, very, very busy. So you have to notify them beforehand, maybe either your lecturers in your school, or perhaps your boss, the person you report to at work. You have to notify them beforehand, because they're also busy and they have their own personal schedules too. So you have to notify them beforehand about the need to get a recommendation from them. And so afterwards, the next thing I did was to, of course, I tried to sum everything together, but the next thing was to actually get started with the application process. And yes, application streams generally usually ends around January, February. So whatever application you want to submit, most of them have their different deadlines, but then you want to ensure that you submit as early as possible. So I was able to to get many offers, and so leading to the interview stage. And from the interview stage, of course, many schools will say they want to get back to you, and some of them will eventually get back to you, some will not eventually get back to you. But then I eventually accepted to my school, Tulane University. So yeah, that's my story. So it means that if I can do it, you can actually do it. So your location, first of all, is not a barrier. Your grade in school is not a barrier. Whether you had a first class or you had a 2-1 or even perhaps a 2-2, it's not a barrier. All you just need to do is be intentional about the application procedure, and also make appropriate early preparations as soon as you can. And the first thing I'll be talking about is your mindset. You must be ready to actually apply to as many schools as possible. You don't want to give yourself some form of limits that, I'm gonna apply to maybe one school or two school. It's not like, it's 100% certain, because there are so many persons across the world, across the globe, that are applying to the same position, the same either undergraduate or either master's or PhD. There are so many people across the globe that are actually applying for the same position. So you don't want to just limit yourself by applying to just one or two schools. So you want to try as much as possible. That's why I'm talking about the concept of mindset, that you want to ensure that you are ready to actually do this. I remember when I started with my application process, I had sleepless nights. I had to submit some applications overnight and all of that. So you need to be ready to actually get started. Then number two is research. So you have to actually make your research appropriately. Generally, applications come out around August, which is the new fall. So whenever a new session starts, that's when they open the doors for new application processes. So you want to make sure that before August, latest by May, June, you want to ensure that you already have all your documentations ready. So, and how do you get started with that? The first thing is you have to research. You have to make a research of how many schools, first of all, how many schools you're actually going to apply to. Second, how many, what is your exact field of interest? What is your exact, especially for the PhD program, what is your research interest? What are you interested in doing for your PhD? You don't just want to go on a general note like I'm applying, for instance, you want to do chemistry, you just want to say, I just want to go for organic chemistry, or I just want to go for physical chemistry. So what aspect of organic chemistry do you want to go for? So that's where the streamlining process comes in. You need to actually know what exactly you want to do. So the first thing I said is you want to make your research about how many schools you want to apply to. Usually you can apply to as many as 10. Yes, as many as 10, because there are many people across the globe. You just don't want to take chances. Third, you want to ensure that you start your application as early as possible. So that's why I said that your documentations, everything should be ready as early as May, June, or like July at the latest, so that by August you want to be among the first set of persons that are actually submitting the application. Then after you have done your due diligence with respect to the number of schools you want to go for, with respect to knowing your exact research interest, if you're a PhD, or knowing what program you want to go for, and third, having your documents ready. What are the actual documents that you're going to need to get started with your application process? Because if you don't have these documents ready, or these important things ready before your application process, if one of them is lost or if one of them is not there, trust me, you're not probably going to actually get the admission. So let's start with statement of purpose. The first thing is your statement of purpose. So talking about the statement of purpose is more like a written document that indicates your interest. It indicates your interest in working with it. Generally it starts with introduction about you, who you are, what you have done before, and your interest in a particular maybe professor, or a particular research group, or a particular department, or a particular school. So definitely you want to ensure that you want to have your statement of purpose, in short SOP, for as many different schools as you intend to apply to. So it means that if you have 10 schools that you have planned for, then it means that you have to get as many as 10 different SOPs. So definitely you have a generalized SOP, then you begin to streamline it for each of the different schools. You don't want to use the same SOP for all the schools. Very important. Please take note of that. You want to apply, for instance, to University of Pittsburgh, and you also want to apply to Arizona State University. You don't want to use the same exact statement of purpose. What I mean is, you have to change the name of the school, you have to change the name of the professor, you have the professors you want to work with, you want to change, if there is a slight difference in the program, you want to ensure you change that too, and some other important things that you should actually change. So it's not like it's going to be like totally different, but you have to change some very important things. So it indicates your introduction about you, what you have done in the past, and your intention, the professor you want to work with in that particular school and probably research group. Now, the second thing is your academic CV. I know that most persons actually have a CV, but they are mostly the job CV. So there is a particular format that you need to follow for the academic CV. You can always get that online. You can always get that. Yeah, just search probably on Google a format for academic CV. You see different formats that you can use. That is very important also. Then the third thing is English proficiency. So in the US, they want to ensure that one it knows how to speak English. So they usually request statement of English proficiency, and usually some schools in Nigeria actually provide that, while some don't provide that. So in the case where your school doesn't provide a statement of English proficiency for you, you can actually write English language proficiency exams like the TOEFL. Then the next thing is the transcript. So transcript is more like a breakdown of your grades while in school. Every school actually gives transcript, so you have to request your transcript. So in the case of transcript, you do not exactly need the official transcript. You can request for unofficial transcript from your school to submit your application process, to start your application process. Then once you're admitted, your school can now send the official transcript directly to the school in which you have been admitted. Then the last thing, which is very, 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 very important, is letters of recommendation. So most schools in the US actually request you to submit 3 letters of recommendations from persons you have either worked with, or your lecturers in your department. So you want to make sure that you, from now, especially if you are an undergraduate, you want to start to create a relationship with your lecturers, with your supervisors. If you are doing your undergraduate research, you want to ensure that they know you and they are able to write some things, hopefully good things about you. Then if you are probably in the working world, you can actually make use of the person you report to at work, and also you can always go back to your alma mater to request for recommendation from one of the lecturers or professors that you've known or that knows you well. Yes, so these are actually the major 5 documents that you actually need to take note of. You actually need to get before you actually start your application process. The first one, like I said, is a statement of purpose. The second one is your academic CV. The third one is your English language proficiency. The fourth one is your transcript, and the fifth one is letters of recommendation. So once you are done with getting all of these documentations, you are ready to start your application. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So feel free to leave your comments and questions in the comment section and we'll be happy to respond. And if you have any concerns, you can always reach out to us and we'll definitely respond to you. Yeah, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and ensure to turn on your notification button so that whenever we drop new videos like this, you'll be able to get it. You'll be the first person to get notified.